yeah, so that's the best part. Whenever you see subtraction in between fractions, my recommendation is changing it to addition, but then making the second fraction a negative to help you when you add them. So when we do this, all I do is I add the numerators together. In this case, I subtract them. But remember, they're not the same. So I'm just going to rewrite it out. Yeah, and then what Katie just told me is you guys need to get better at factoring. And I'm going to probably put it on your homework from this day on, because that's how important it is for the future for you if you're going to anything like Math 098 or to JJC or any college. Okay, if you're not, fine, just bear with me. But majority of you, I feel like, have some sort of path along those lines. So, what yes, Katie said is to the square root of both of them. Now, how would I rewrite this on the top? Square root of 64. 8. X plus 8 and x minus 8. Do you see how this denominator kind of just comes along with the ride? It just comes with us. Well, now we get to a point where we're like, cool, things can cancel. Goodbye. Oh, wrong one. Come on, Miss Sabo. Wrong one. That was that one. And this is all I am left with. X plus 8 is my answer. Okay? So that was yesterday. We had common bases. You guys were actually really good at it yesterday, so good job. Today is not as easy because I'm not going to have common bases. If you were gone yesterday, today is just kind of like an addition of yesterday. So like you'll basically be learning what you did yesterday today. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to our notes that you picked up hopefully by the handouts. Take those out, please. Tomorrow, oh my God, I thought tomorrow was Friday. This is awful, guys. That was brutal for me. I just realized that it is only Tuesday. Okay, tomorrow we're just going to do solving, which you guys were good at, like cross multiplying. So I think you'll be fine, but we got to do our notes for today first. So let's go ahead and do that. Go away. Tell me a story. Just kidding. Hold on. Oh. There you go. Okay, when we are adding and we are subtracting rational expressions with unlike bases. Remember, unlike bases are those denominators. So if you look at the example that's below here, these are called your denominators or your bases. One's a 6 and one's a 3. They're different. Yesterday they were the same. Today they're going to be different. So I have some steps for you, and I have Jeannie from Aladdin off to the side going to help us out here. It says factor the denominators to find the least common denominator. Now the least common denominator is the highest power of each factor that occurs in the denominator. So what does that mean? You have your multiplication chart. When you're looking at it, which one do both of them multiply to? Or can be divided by it, which we'll get more practice with that here in a second. So we're going to then, after we do that, multiply each expression by what's missing. How do I get 6? I have to multiply 3 by 2. That's how I have to do that. It's missing a 2. Okay, so let's go to this one and do step 2 here just to kind of go with it. I have a 6 and a 3. What is the least common denominator? What I want you guys to do is write out LCD and try to figure out what it is, because it's going to help you along the way. Least common denominator is, which one do both of these multiply to get? Or what is the LCD? What is a number that I can divide both of it by? Does anyone know what your LCD would be in this situation? What is a number that both of them divide into? No? It's never going to be smaller than the numbers that you have. It's never going to be smaller than the numbers that you have on the bottom. So what is a number, like can I turn 6 into 3 by multiplying? What do I have to multiply by? I can't, right? Because I have to divide it. But can I turn 3 into 6? Good, so what's our LCD then? Do I want 3 or do I want 6? 6. So our LCD is 6 because it's asking, can you get a common base? I can. I can turn 3 into 6, but I can't turn 6 into 3 by multiplying, not by dividing. Because dividing would be too complicated, trust me. So, I'm not missing anything here because it already has the least common denominator. This one doesn't. what would I have to multiply the top and bottom by to get the LCD of 6 here? 2. Let me explain why I have to do the top and bottom. What is 2 divided by 2? 1. What's 1 times 2/3? So did I change the problem at all? No, that's why you can do that. Okay, I can't just multiply the bottom by 2 and call it a day. You have to do the top and bottom to make it mathematically correct. So now, let's go back up here and see what our next step is. Add or subtract the numerators and write over the LCD. So no matter what, just like yesterday, you're not changing the denominator. Once you find what your LCD is, that's what it is the whole entire time. So 6 is going to carry with us the whole way. So let's do this. I have 7 over 6 plus, what's 2 times 2? What'd you say? 4. Okay, 4, it's okay. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Now I have what I did yesterday. So if you weren't here, this is exactly what they did yesterday. We're just taking it one step further. So if you were not here yesterday, this is what we did. We have common bases. I just add them. What's 7 plus 4? Yeah, so 11 over 6. The goal is for you to get common bases so that you can add fractions. I know that adding fractions has always been a struggle for a lot of kids. I get that. But I want to make sure that you know how to do that, because if you're going to cook food and you like to cook food, I'm telling you all the time when I cook, I have to change the measurements all the time. Like if it's calling for 1 1/4 cups of blank and I want to double it, or if I want to divide it by 2, like you have to be able to work with those fractions. Okay? All right, so let's fill in the last blank here, though, because it says factor the numerator and cancel like factors, like we've done in the past couple of days. So the goal for you is just to make sure that you can get the same base, the same denominator. So let's take a couple of turns and see how to do it. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. When you find your LCD, this is how my brain works. Can 2 be multiplied by anything to get 5? Because you have to check and see, like, can one of them just be the LCD? Can 2 multiply in any way to get 5?
No.
Can 5 multiply in any way to get 2? No, so we need to find something other than 2 and 5 to work with here. What is a number that I can multiply these by to get the same number? 10, very good. So let's talk about that. I can do 10 divided by 2. What is it? 5. And here's the trick. That's what you have to multiply by. Now what is 10 divided by 5? 2. So that's what I have to multiply the top and bottom by. The only reason why I have to do that is because we're talking about fractions. You can't add them unless they have the same denominator, which I know that you've talked about in the past. So now you've done that. But I would always try to find out what your LCD is. Now, here's another trick. If you are on a test or whatever the situation may be, if you really get stuck, you're like, I just can't figure it out. What is 5 times 2? Yeah, see, that helped us. You can also just multiply them together. It might cause more work for you in the end, in certain situations. Like, for the next one, if you don't realize what the LCD is and you multiply together, you might have to simplify at the very end, but at least you were able to do the problem. So here we go. What is, just multiply straight across, what's 5 times x?
5x.
5x. And we have 5 times 10, which is, oh my god, 5 times 2, which is 10. It's always going to be all over your LCD. All right, we got 2 times 2x, which is 4x. All over my LCD, which is 10. No matter what, your LCD doesn't change. So I'm still going to have 10 at the bottom when I actually add these together. This is what we did yesterday. So if you weren't here, like that's what we learned yesterday. What is 5x plus 4x? And we're done. The hardest part about these is finding what the LCD is. That, in my opinion, is the hardest part. Okay? So now I want you just to like attempt the next one. You might want to look at either the one we just did or even look at the example we just did, because they're kind of working with the same numbers. So look at them and see if you can at least find the LCD, or if you can go all the way to the end, that would even be better. The LCD is the least common denominator. It means what is the smallest number that both of them can be divided by. Like I can divide. So yeah, it would just be 4. Okay, a lot of you when I walk around are doing okay, which is great. Hi. She's not here.
Is that here? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so again, I have 2 and 6. Here's what I always do first. Can I multiply 2 by anything to get 6?
Yeah.
So right away, because you just said yes, that's your LCD. My LCD is 6 because I can write one of them as the other. So that helps me out. If you use 12, perfectly fine. You just have to reduce at the end. That's the only thing that kind of stinks about using the 12. So what would I have to multiply the top and bottom by for this first fraction in order to have 6 in the denominator? What over what? What would I have to multiply 2 by to get my LCD? 3. So that's the number you use. I use 3 over 3. All right, here we go. 3 times x is 3x. We should know that. At this point, you could probably just write it all over one fraction. Just let's start learning how to skip some steps here. You don't have to write every single time both different fractions. Because no matter what, it's going to be all over your LCD. Always. Always and forever. Okay, then we have 7x, so plus 7x. All right, well, what's 3x plus 7x here?
10.
Yeah. 10 what?
10.
Uh-huh. Now, if you got this far, awesome, so proud of you. However, is there something else I can do? Yeah, I can simplify. What can I divide both the top and bottom by? 2. So I'm left, so if I divide this by 2, it becomes what over what?
5 over 3. No, 5 over x over 3.
Good job. I understand this is hard. Please know that. This is not something that I'm like, you should know how to do this right away. We're going to keep working towards it. Because it's very important that you know how to simplify things and that you know how to factor, because factoring is actually going to be coming up here shortly. So, I want you to take a second. Nope, I want to do this one with you. Okay, this one's pretty much the same, but instead of having adding, I have subtraction. Remember yesterday, if you're subtracting, I do what? Add it and I change the sign. Because it only keeps your thoughts together. Now, the first step is always to find your least common denominator. What is it in this situation? Can I write 3 as 2 in any way? Can I write 2 as 3? So what's a number that you can come up with that both of them can divide into? 1, it would be 1/3. I can't have that. 6. Okay, so the question is, and one of the biggest tricks I can tell you is it's never going to be smaller than the bottoms. So 1 should not be an option for you because it's never going to be smaller than 3, nor will it be smaller than 2. It's either the same thing or bigger. Do you see how we can multiply 3 by something to get 6 and 2 by something to get 6? Or you can think of it as what's the smallest number both of them divide into? Because what is 6 divided by 3 in our first fraction here? What's 6 divided by 3? 2, and that's why I multiply the top and bottom by 2. Now, here's a trick. What's 6 divided by 2? 3, and that's why I multiply by 3 over 3.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. You got distracted for a little bit, so now you're back, so you might be good now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. 2 times 2 is? 4. Stay with me back there. What is 3 times negative x?
Negative 3x.
Yeah, negative 3x. Okay, pen, you're going to start not working on me? All over my LCD, which was 6. Can I do anything else? It's okay to say no because you're right. I'm done. I can't do anything. 4 doesn't have an x. It's not the same as 3. So we're done. I want you to try the next one so that you can go ahead and see if you can do that. Please try the next one. have x with it. So you really don't even do another x. I'm saying, we'll get to that too. Give it a try. At least try to find the LCD. Yep, you can use 20. 20 is a good number. And the trick is, if you can't remember what it is, you multiply them together. 5 times 4 is 20. There you go. There's your LCD. If you can't remember, multiply the bottoms together. Yeah. LCD is 20. Man, this computer is corrupt today. It has been a crazy day. Can you tell by like,
So bipolar.
huh?
The weather's so bipolar.
It really is, yeah. I'm going to do the first step for you so you can see if you're on the right track right now. You multiply it by what it's missing. Yes?
Why would it be dividing by multiplying by 4?
Because our goal is to get 20, and 5 times 4 is...
But 4 times 9 is that 20?
We're just worried about the bottom.
Okay.
We're just worried about the bottom, yeah. We're only worried about the bottom here. About to do the next step. If you are all done, you can go ahead and check your answers. Okay. So I kept going with this, so hopefully you at least got to 1 step or to 2 steps when you were doing this problem, or maybe you got all the way to the end. Perfect. Okay, but making progress is the best you can do. You can't expect your brain to just know how to do math right away. Okay, I can't speak French. You try to teach me how to speak French right now, I'd be like, what? Okay, that's just how it works. You have to keep practicing with it. So I want to do this other one because this one, I think when you start working with letters, it's actually easier for this type of problem. So my LCD, we talked about the letters and the numbers. What's the LCD in between these? So what are we going to have? What number? 6. And if you look, now there's this X down there. That's okay. But look, they already both have one. So we're good. Like we like that when they have the same things. It's kind of like when we were factory or GCF. So what would I have to multiply this fraction by in purple here to get 6x on the bottom? 3 only. Some people, when I watched them do it, they wanted to add an x to it. And this is the last period too. There already has an x there. You multiply by what it's missing. Look, it's missing the 3. What about this next one here in blue? Yeah, 2 over 2. Because again, your goal is to get the LCD on the bottom. I don't care about the top. I care about the bottom. So here we go. This is what the hard part is. So if you went ahead of me, make sure that you're distributing this in. You have 3 times x, which is 3x. But what's 3 times 3? Careful. It's 9. Very good. All over your LCD, which was what? Yep. Move on to the next fraction. I'm going to do this one in blue. Put your plus sign. I'm not going to split this one up just for the sake of notes. All you're doing is 2 times 2, which is? Yep, all over my LCD. Your LCD does not change because the goal is for you to get to this step. Because yesterday, this is what we did. Right here. All right, add the things you can. What's common? What can I add? Very good. I like this. Okay, so you guys are doing very well. Don't focus on the bottom. Yeah, you should always be focusing on the top here in this situation. So you have 3x plus 13 all over your LCD. Flip when you're ready to go. We're only going to do like 2 or 3. Honor letter. Here. Okay. I like, cracks me up. Cracks me up. Okay. Again, I like working with letters better. They're so much easier to realize what it's missing. For my LCD for 6, they both have what letter? X. But then I must include the other one. What is that? What's the other letter I see? Y. Is this fraction, if I just cover this up, missing any part of my LCD?
No.
No, move on. Is this fraction missing any part of my LCD? Y, good. So I would multiply the top and bottom by what it's missing, which was Y. And that's why I like letters better for this situation, because numbers sometimes can be harder to work with.
Is it X and Y or Y and Y?
X and Y.
I don't know what I thought it was.
So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite it. What happens to my sign here? Changes, and you got to change the sign to negative. Yeah. So then I have minus 3y on top all over xy. I knew that because negative 3 times y is that. Again, do not focus on the bottom at this point. What is 2 minus 3y? Well, we can't add them. They're different, so just rewrite it and you're done. If you can't add them, you can't add them. You don't always have to get an answer like 1. Okay, you can just add them and be fine. I want you to try 7. Okay. Good. I like the way your brain thinks so. Okay, so hopefully you at least got your LCD. What was it? 28. Very good. And then I must include the letter that goes with it, which is X. Very good. So let me ask you, the bottom here. It has the X already. We're good. I don't have to include X, but what do I have to include to get 28? 7. So 7 over 7. Let's look at this one. I don't have an X, so I must multiply by X over X. But what else must I multiply by to get 28? 4. So really you have to multiply the top and bottom by 4x. Because that's what's missing. I'm missing the x, and I'm missing a factor of 4. So here we go. I have 21, because 7 times 3. All over my LCD of 28x. Minus, which can be changed to a positive if you want. And then 1 times 4x is just 4x. All over 28x. Do you see how the LCD, now we have the same thing, so we can just add them. But guess what? We can't add them because they don't have like terms. So I'm just going to rewrite it. 21 minus 4x all over 28. Now, this happens in all of my classes. A lot of people are like, oh, okay, 4 and 28 can reduce it, simplify. You can't do that. You can't do it unless all 3 of them have the same number that can go into all of them. Okay, I'm only going to do 2 more. I'm going to do 9 and 11 and then call it a day. We still got 20 minutes left. Let's look at 9. The very first step is to factor the denominators if you can. So if you look back at our first step, it says factor the denominators to help you find the LCD. I'm telling you, you guys are going to like the ones with letters better than you are with the numbers. So let's first do what the first step tells me. I can factor this piece into something. Remember, factor means take something out. What can I take out of both of these? A 5. What is left when I divide both of them by 5? Because that's what factoring is. Huh?
4.
And plus 4. Very good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cross this out so I no longer look at it. Because I now just factored that, and I only want to look at that. Now let's look at our LCD. What do they both have? X plus 4, so I'm going to write that there. But what does one have that the other doesn't? Not X,
5.
a 5. You see how this one has a 5 and this one doesn't? That means that they're not common. And that's why I know I have to multiply one of the fractions by what number? 5. Good. So here's kind of, I'm trying to get you to understand this. The LCD is this. This fraction here has the LCD, so we're good. But this one does not. What is it missing? The 5. And that's why we have to multiply both the top and bottom by 5. Okay? And that's why I like these LCDs a lot better, because numbers sometimes can be really tricky. Because all I'm going to do is put it all over my LCD. Well, the x plus 24 here, I'm not multiplying by anything, so I'm just going to rewrite it. But then I have, what's 5 times x? Yeah. And I got one more step. There's something common on top. What is it? And? Only the top. Yeah, just the x. Good. Which gets you what? Almost there. 24 plus 6x or 6x plus 24. Either one works. All over 5x plus 4. Okay, so like once you hit here, you're not even focusing on this. You're just kind of seeing what I can combine the top. We got one more, and then I won't kill you. We'll just do some easy stuff tomorrow. This today, in my opinion, is the hardest day out of the whole entire chapter.
Do you have homework?
You do. That's why you're gonna have good. Right now, you have 17 minutes still left of class, so we only have one more left. You guys like these. I know you did. And I'm gonna keep saying because I know you guys are pretty good at it. Out of all of these, the yellow and the purple, which one can I factor? The yellow, okay? So I'm going to take the square root of both of them. What does it become? Beautiful. Good job. So that goes away. Awesome. Now, take a look at only the bottoms. Only the bottoms, because that's what your least common denominator means. They both have what? Yeah, so let's write that down. 'Cause for sure they're going to have x plus 3. But one of them has something else. What does it have? Okay. Now this is where we kind of get a little stuck, where I feel like some people get stuck on these ones. The first fraction. Does the bottom have the LCD? Exactly. Yeah, move on. The second one. What is this missing from the LCD? Yeah, it's missing the x minus 3. It has x plus 3. It's missing its partner. So I need to multiply the top and bottom by x minus 3. Because look it, that's what's missing. I need to have that in order to add and subtract them. So here we go. I'm going to write all over my LCD, because it just kind of trails with you the whole entire time. I'm going to write my 6x out because I'm not doing anything to it. However, I do have to do something to this right fraction. What is x times x? Beautiful. And then what is x times negative 3?
Negative 3x.
Good. We're almost there, guys. What can I combine on the top, which makes what? Yeah, 3x. I'm just going to write my LCD out. I'm actually just going to write LCD because I'm really annoyed with keep writing that over and over again. Because I just know the LCD is going to be there forever. Because guess what? I know you're annoyed with me, but there's something else that can come out on the top because you can see it right in your face. What is common on the top? The x's, they both have one. And there's a reason why we're doing this. Oh, why did I put plus 3? Oh, it is plus 3, sorry. When I factor out x, which really means divide both of them by x, what do I get in the inside? Uh-huh. You're right. But guess what? Now write your LCD out, and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's why we did that. Do you see something? My mathematicians. Yes. Goodbye. And that's why we have to do all of that. My final answer is this. Okay, you guys are doing hard level math. You're doing very well with it. You need to just keep going. Even if you get halfway and you don't know where to go from there, at least you got halfway. You have to just try it. Don't be like, I give up. At least try to look at your notes, do one step, maybe two. Hopefully you can get all of them in. But don't just throw in the towel, please. I'm begging you. Because I'm telling you, if you're taking Math 09, you cannot do this. You will not be able to do Math